So I was stepping into the shower this morning. Sorry for the visual, everybody. Stepping into the shower. Let me bring Damon. Kristen, that got uncomfortable. So, guys, I was getting in the shower this morning after a 3-mile run, which isn't the point of the story, but I did want you to know that around 5 a.m. Anyway, and I'm wetting myself, but not like in an inappropriate way. Just like, what's the pre-rinse? Is it called a pre-rinse, Dame?
This is getting worse.
No, you know what I mean.
Let's go with what were you rinsing yourself before you rinse yourself?
Well, no, you're either wetting yourself, getting wet in the shower. Like, what do you do before you soap up? What is that called? What's that period of time called?
It's not a pre-rinse.
It's not a rinse. What are you rinsing? It's a pre-rinse or a wetting.
Let's go with wetting. I like wet. Let's go with wetting. It's not soaking.
All right, so I'm wetting myself in the shower, which is how to cure athlete's foot, oddly too. But anyway, I'm wetting myself in the shower, and I look down to grab my soap, and I'm thinking, okay, it's gonna be some Irish Spring, some Lever 2000, some Dove, something traditional. And every once in a while, Mrs. Planner puts like a artisan soap in there, right? Mm-hmm. So I reach down, I'm like, oh, what am I gonna smell like today? So I start lathering up the temple here, and it's cinnamon soap. I smell like Christmas today. If you came up to me, Dame, and nuzzled into my neck today, I smell like I smell like Fireball. Which is weird. Like I've got a lot of responsible things today, and I smell like cinnamon whiskey.
Good. Man, that's
Kristen. Here's the thing it really smells like, though. When I was a kid, we had a bathroom spray that was cinnamon flavored in like our half bath. And so when you use the spray, people know when you use the spray, then it smelled of that. And that memory just came rushing back to me as I was trying to clean myself in the shower. Hello, everybody.
Are you a bar soap family?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, Mrs. Planner and I are, I think the kids might be gels. I don't know. What are you? Is this too intimate?
Unless we're talking about application, no, but
yeah. Do you use a loofah?
Yeah, I do. Little exfoliation.
I'm not comfortable asking Kristen what she
No, let's skip that one.
Okay. Yeah, this is a financial show.
Okay. Look, I know I got some problems. About 1,000 memories I gotta forget. But I'm gonna solve them. Maybe I'll take all the help I can get.
Who was that from?
I thought I'd make a Morgan Whalen reference to you guys today just to surprise you.
I'm in shock.
I did that on purpose. I set up the whole story so I could deliver that line in a mediocre way.
I'm impressed.
Oh, hi. We were off last week, so your life was a little better. Both as the co-host and the listener, your life was better last week because we didn't have a show. Kristen, how's your life? How's it going?
It's better now. Thank you for asking.
Yes. Kristen almost was unable to join us this week, Dame. A little landscaping incident nearly took down the flagship. Can you help us understand what you've heard, Dame?
I understand it was all hands on deck or in the dirt, whatever you want to say. But there was a shortage of internets at Kristen's house.
Kristen chopped her internet cable in half and then had it replaced by a young man. Thank God for him. What was his name? You don't know the technician's name that kept our show on the air?
No. I don't, because I thought he said Caleb and it wasn't. It was like almost like Caleb, but I still didn't understand what he said the second time. And I didn't feel like I could ask a third time. So it's a name like Caleb, but it wasn't.
So pro tip here, Kristen, you could have just said any name and we never would have known. And
I know,
would have seemed like a complete genius. And he's not going to listen to this show, so he never would have known. So you just say a name.
Does he use bar soap or gel? Okay, here's what's on the show this week. We are going to play a little game. Is it a game? It's a thing. It's a bit. It is, what is your least favorite financial metric? And what is your favorite financial metric? The three experts on the show, or shall I say the two experts and me, will go around and we will we'll share those thoughts with you. We will also possibly talk about the debt ceiling today, although potentially that becomes pointless if the deal is signed in the next couple of days. We'll also talk about a new study that just came out that said 43% of Americans, only 43% of Americans, have confidence in their ability to retire. So we'll talk about that, and then so much more. You guys ready to start the show?
Ready.
Let's go.
I know people feel traumatized by the whole soaping incident of 2023. What's your preferred scent when you get out of the shower? What do you want to smell like, Dame? Like, I bet you want to smell like cedar and like a light tar.
Pine forest, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I also don't want to ask this question of Kristen. I want, like it just
Not
feels
tar.
okay.
Yeah.
Not tar.
Yeah.
I'm just back to lavender. I would just rather just always smell like lavender.
See, I like vanilla, but you had mentioned Irish Spring earlier, and it's been a hot minute since I've gotten a good whiff Irish Spring. I think that might be nice.
Smells so good. Okay, let's do a show. My parents are so proud of me. I'm sure they are. You got to think so.
You got to keep telling yourself that at least.
In 3, 2, 1. This week on the Pete the Planner Show, we answer your money questions. Here's how the show works. Email us, askpete@petetheplanner.com. That's askpete@petetheplanner.com, and we will answer your questions sometimes. Joining me, as always, is Kristen Elanius, the Director of Education at Your Money Line, and Damian Dunn, Vice President of Advice at Your Money Line. Hello, folks.
Hello.
Good day, Pete.
Memorial Day weekend in central Indiana, which means on our flagship station, WIBC, no one's hearing this because we're preempted by the Indy 500.
Yeah.
On Network Indiana, good day to you because we don't know when you're listening. And to our podcast listeners, congrats on being part of the 1% top podcast in the world.
Yes.
Dame, there are a lot of financial metrics out there, right?
There are, indeed.
Like if you go up to someone on the street and you're like, hey, man, I don't know why you use that voice, but let's say you did. Hey, man, how's it going financially? Someone is making an evaluation about your question based on a feel, but sometimes a metric that they view to be important. Sometimes that metric might be their income. It might be their bank balance. It might be more specified or specialized things like net worth or credit score, whatever. So today we're going to talk about what is your favorite metric and what is your least favorite metric, I can talk today, to evaluate a person's financial life. So let's begin with the negative because that's how we roll. What is your least favorite financial metric? We're going to begin with youthfulness and spirit. Kristen?
I'm just going to say it first and then I will defend my position. I think that it's net worth.
Okay, net worth. Do we want to go around and then get them out and then defend?
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, sure. Let's do that.
All right. Damian Andrew Dunn from the North.
Should I give my address and social security number so people can just go ahead and complete the financial hacking of my life? Or okay,
I put it in the show notes.
Thank you. The worst metric is, I don't know if you'd even consider it a metric, but judging your financial acumen or whatever we're going to call it by your retirement balance, I think is a big mistake.
Okay. And I'm going with credit score. Okay. So, Kristen, well, first of all, Dame, do we disagree with Kristen? I'm going to say I kind of disagree with Kristen. I wouldn't even put it in my bottom five metric.
I think what we're going to run into here is on both sides of the aisle, except for one specific answer, because I already know what it's going to be, and we all would have chosen it. But since whatever, we could all poke holes in everybody's choices here. So I think there's going to be some that are better, some that are worse, and it's not going to be quite as clean cut as we would hope it would be. Net worth for the worst financial metric to judge your financial life by, I think, is a very interesting choice, and I'm waiting to hear how Kristen defends herself.
Kristen?
Okay, what does it, I know what it tells you, but what can you do with that information alone?
That's a fair question. It's a sort of a point of time It is okay, what am I going to do about it?
And yeah, you're like, okay, my net worth is like maybe you hit milestones and that's exciting, but without other ratios, other numbers, other information, I don't really see a whole lot of value in it.
Well, a couple things. Any piece of data you could say the same thing about. I mean, you literally could make that argument about any piece of data, but I would say, to argue with you in a very professional way, but with love, is on one level, what you would want to do is compare it with your income and sort of have those play off of each other, or your age and how much money you've earned in your career. Or if it's negative, why? So I think it's with all these metrics, it's what questions do they beg? And so beyond it being a point in time, Kristen, are you thinking more of a positive net worth is uninformative, or when you think about this idea being uninformative, are you thinking more for people with a negative net worth?
I think maybe negative, and that could be just my bias at the point that I am in my career and my like my friends in my circle. I can think of a lot of people in my life who net worth would make them feel like they were really off track, but I don't think that it captures their reality accurately. So for those people who it does make sense for them to use it, I love it, but I don't think that group of people is enough.
On the off chance that someone's riding around in their car with their family and they got a young teen in the car with them, number one, I apologize for the inappropriate jokes that will eventually come. Number two, net worth are your assets minus your debts. And so what you get there at the end is your net worth. If you have more assets than debts, you're going to have a positive net worth. If you have more debts than assets, you're going to have a negative net worth. Dame, any reflection on Kristen's thoughts here?
I think net worth is an interesting tracking tool. It's not something that I personally focus on much on a day-to-day, certainly not day-to-day, but maybe even quarter-to-quarter. I just know that it's something that I'm going to keep tabs on and see how things are going. But there's so many things that are out of my control that influence net worth that it makes it a potential metric to look at that could be inadvertently discouraging. Just because, if you looked at your net worth before, a year before the pandemic and right as it started, you didn't do a darn thing about it, but you had a massive change in your net worth. Was that necessarily a reason to throw flags up in the air and say, well, it's all burning down, we got to figure something out because my net worth is dropping? Well, we found out, no, it's not. So it's just another number, another way to judge how you are doing. And like I said, hopefully on a long-term basis, you're using that information to just set benchmarks as you're going.
I think none of these should ever be viewed as an in isolation point of time. They should always be tracked over time. Kristen, I'm curious, do you calculate your net worth on at least an annual basis?
Yes.
Okay. Damien? Yeah, me too. Okay. Dame, by the way, there are no bad answers here.
Yeah, there are.
Other than Kristen's, there are not a single. No, I'm just kidding. Dame, retirement account balance.
Yeah, I don't like. So there's a lot of comfort that can be assumed when you look at a retirement account balance if it's where you think it needs to be, but that doesn't tell you very much at all. How dependent are you on that income? How is it invested? What's the longevity of that fund set up to be? It can be almost in my opinion, a set of false sense of hope for you if you look at it and you've got this number in your mind, whether it's the $1 million or whatever that most people have set up. $1 million is great. It may not be anywhere close to what you actually need in reality, and you may be setting yourself up for a much bigger problem in retirement if you aren't well aware of where that number needs to be.
We need to do a show. We need the whole show to have, because it's a very difficult topic to talk about appropriately. And the topic is why $1 million isn't a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
And I can feel the email and the privilege accusations flowing. Can we do that in the next couple of weeks? I mean, that's an entire show.
If you guys want to do it next week, that'd be great.
When you're out. Lovely. Dame, do you check your retirement account balance at least once a year?
Yeah, once a year.
Kristen?
I check it like once a week.
Okay, and I check mine at least once a year. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Coming up after the break, I'm going to tell you specifically why a credit score is the worst financial metric of all time. And we will begin my argument this way. Kristen, do you check your credit score at least once a year?
Not intentionally.
Dame?
No.
Me neither. And that's why I'm right. So coming up right after the break, I'm going to tell you specifically why none of us check it. And because we know what we're talking about, and you should stop checking your credit score as well. I'm Pete the Planner, and this is the Pete the Planner Show. Lay down the gauntlet. Laid it down.
I will be happy to point out that Kristen knew exactly what your best and worst were going to be when we were kicking around ideas.
Of course she does. She knows everything. She knows everything about everything other than guessing biggest waste of money of the week. Mm-hmm. And this week, she's going to fall flat on her face.
Great. Awesome.
You guys, I have not talked to you much. Although I saw you on Monday. It was so good to see you. It was sort of in passing, unfortunately. No one passed. You know what I mean? Like, no one died. But it was in passing. Because you see someone passed,
right.
It means they're dead. But we're all here.
Yeah.
I forgot to tell you. I neglected to tell you. I've not been able to tell you. Our show may be getting a sponsor.
What?
Yeah. And now I can't tell you anything else about it on the air. I'll tell you off the air.
Are we gonna get like cool shirts that we have to wear, or like a sleep number bed that we have to check out to say like this is our number on the show and all that fun stuff?
What if it's like a head raiser? Like,
okay. I mean, but if you say that's great, I've got direct use for that.
When's Kristen gonna be a team player and get with the program if we have the head raiser sponsor?
What? No.
Natalie Portman in that one movie shaved her head and she looked amazing. Kristen, come on.
Natalie Portman's net worth is much greater than mine.
Oh,
but that's a horrible way to judge your financial life.
Yeah,
I wonder what her credit score is. I should do a website, celebrity credit scores.
That would be awesome.
You would click on that, right?
I absolutely
would.
Okay,
Yes,
is it rude to like? Yeah, that's rude. Never mind. We're not going to do that. We were going to be like, what celebrity has the worst credit score? Like, that's a terrible thing to do. We shouldn't joke about people's financial malfeasance. You guys want to hear an awkward moment that occurred to me earlier this week?
Always.
Mm-hmm.
It was yesterday, maybe. I go out in our parking lot here. Julie Penguins is listening, ladies and gentlemen.
Yay.
Oh my gosh. Hi, Julie. How are you? Good to see you. I'm going to use this voice for no reason. Okay. I go in our parking lot and a convertible bright red Ferrari is being backed out.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a woman driving it. Probably, I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing women's ages is a terrible idea.
Don't do that.
But likely a dame our age or or older. Okay. A little bit older. Okay. Definitely a blonding that came with chemicals. I mean, this is feeling judgmental, but I'm trying to paint the picture. Okay. I shouldn't have started this way, but here's where I'm going. I'm following this person who happens to be a woman of a certain age with a certain hair situation. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I would love to know the story. Just then, like this really nice Porsche passes me, and it's a guy driving it. I'm thinking, man, I want to know that story. Like, why is that person driving that car and that person driving that car? Then a Hyundai Elantra passes me. I look over at it and I was like, I actually don't care what that person's story is. Is that wrong that I wanted to know the story of the Ferrari driver and the Porsche driver, but then a Hyundai goes by and it's like, I don't care. It's probably going to get stolen anyway. Like, is that rude? Or is it honest?
I think you're just chasing the more likely interesting story in your journalistic mind.
Thank you. Kristen, am I rude or am I a journalist?
You're honest.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not necessarily intrigued by wealth, but I'm intrigued by the story which led to the wealth.
Have you, there's a channel, that's not a channel. There's a person on TikTok and they may have bled into other. Yeah. He runs up to car windows. People who are driving nice cars, Daniel Mack. And he says, "Hey, great car. Do you mind telling me what you do?" And if they engage, he kind of goes a little bit deeper and says, "Hey, what tips do you have for somebody who would love to drive a car like this based off of your profession?" And sometimes there are some fun little stories there.
Absolutely.
I'm picturing you as the middle-aged Daniel Mack.
Well, is he not middle-aged?
No, he's in his 20s.
No.
I was doing a news hit this morning on News Nation, and it occurred to me, I came up with a new line that I thought was pretty funny. We're talking about early retirement, and I said, I'm an expert. In fact, my hairline retired early. That's pretty funny. It's sort of a one-liner. It's on the news. I mean, I'm not exactly at Crackers or Caroline's. Yeah. It's an easy audience. People are eating their Cheerios. I'm telling yucks. It's pretty good. My hairline retired early. Okay. It's cheap. I mean, it is a cheap laugh. And the worst part is it's one that I will now use forever.
Did the host laugh?
Yeah, but I mean, she's paid to laugh. Like, she's paid to make me seem interesting. She was nice. Kelly something.
Oh,
I don't know.
I love her.
You could have just made up her last name.
And we never would have known.
Wow. Okay, in 3, 2, 1. Back on the Pete the Planner show, talking the worst financial metrics to measure yourself by. If you missed the first segment, what were you been doing? Go to the Pete the Planner podcast or wherever you get your podcast, and you can listen to the first segment. But I'll recap it for you to save you the time. Kristen says net worth. Dame says retirement account balance. And I let the cat out of the bag. And I said credit scores. Kristen, I want to tell you a little story. You up for it?
Yeah, of course.
Years ago, when I had hair, I was in Chicago, the Windy City. I got done speaking. And a guy comes up to me afterwards. He said, "Pete, great job." I was like, "I know." He said, "I have a credit score question for you." I was like, okay. And he goes, "Well, here's my thing. I got $90,000 in credit card debt. I have $4,000 a month minimum payment. But I have a 780-point credit score. Am I in a bad situation or not?" And this guy made less than $200,000 a year. Okay. That is a terrible metric. That was higher than my credit score. And I had $0 in debt, 0 minimum payment, and was in a much better position. But the credit bureau said, this person is financially healthier. This person is a better credit risk than me. Dame, I've also closed a credit card that I wasn't using, and my credit score went down. Mm-hmm. Dame, I have at one time in a previous life, like a cat, I'm on life 3. I increased a credit limit when I had a credit balance. So my usage ratio went down. So I have access to more credit and my credit score went up. Mm-hmm. These are all dumb things, which lead me to say your credit score is a horrible measure of your financial health. Kristen, beat that up.
I don't disagree in the examples that you are giving, but I think that when someone has a bad credit score, it can be a good metric because it's so many other things in your life rely on you, like having a good or a great credit score.
All right. I mean, I know I'm picking specifics, right?
Sure.
Which is unfair, right? But we'll make up a person here. Let's say this person's name is Carrie Melanius. Okay. So it's Carrie Melanius. And she has a 500-point credit score. And she is renting. And she just had a tough financial time. But she's got an emergency fund. She has no current debts. And she is saving money for the future. She's healthy. She just had a bad event, and therefore she looks like a credit risk. I view it almost wholly misrepresentative of a person's actual financial stability. Damien, any nuance there?
I mean, if we look at what credit scores are made up of, the two biggest components are, Kristen.
Do you pay your bills on time? And how much credit do you use as a percentage of what's available?
Very good. So
I would have answered that wrong, by the way.
It kind of threw me off guard.
Go ahead.
When he quizzes me like that, I'm like,
I don't
oh
like
boy.
when he does that.
Yeah, so those are the two biggest things. If we can get those under control, because if you're not using very much of that credit, chances are you might be using dollars in a effective way outside of that because you're not racking up debt. And it's likely that your credit score is going to be making good progress towards a higher score if you have just those two things under control. I agree. I don't like when people say, "Well, I've got a 7 whatever credit score. I'm in great shape." That no, maybe not. May not have anything to do with that credit score. But we do know, based off of the two big motivating factors or driving factors of credit score, that if it's trending in the right direction or is maybe even reasonable, there might be some really good things going on in your life, or at least consistent and stabilizing things going on in your financial life. Not a full sure thing, but it could be.
Yeah. The other weird thing is, and this is nuanced too, Dame, based on we're the same age and our lives are similar in this way. Your household owns a business.
Mm-hmm.
My household owns a business.
Mm-hmm.
So our credit worthiness is important.
Yeah.
However, let's say that we didn't own businesses, but we had the same financial standing that we have. Our credit worthiness actually wouldn't matter at our age because you and I would never borrow money again ever for the rest of our lives. So that's the other. I'm cherry picking, right? I'm cheating by having these special examples. Now let's go turn it on its head. Best metric to measure your financial life. We're going to go round robin. We're going to be quicker this round. Kristen, what is your metric?
Real rate of return.
Real rate of return. Wow. Excited to hear that. Wow. Do we have time to explain what that is to me? Or am I going to have to chat PTP it and find out what it is? Dame, what about you?
Debt to income ratio, because it was the closest thing I could think of to the one that I really wanted to pick, which is Pete's choice.
Power percentage is mine. Of course, I choose one that I created. So we call that narcissism in the biz. Kristen, what did you choose? Real rate of return?
Yeah. So your inflation adjusted rate of return. Because if you're saving, you could be saving 10% for retirement, but you're terrified of the market and you have your investments in cash equivalents. Are you really saving enough for retirement? And I think people kind of, once you put the money in the account, sometimes you take a step back and you're like, well, doing good. And it's like, well, we see that all the time on the line. Is like, well, did you take that extra step to look into what it's invested in?
I have a dumb question. Kristen will know the answer. And if she doesn't, Dame actually probably won't either. Kristen, is that net investment fees as well, real rate of return? Or would you just have to say real rate of return, net investment fees?
I don't think that it is. I think it's just inflation adjusted because the formula doesn't have investment fees in it.
I love what you've said, real rate of return. It's hard to even try to poke holes in it. Dame, what could be more interesting is to net in investment fees on top of that.
Of course.
Yeah. Kristen, so far you're the leader in the clubhouse.
Right on.
Dame, talk to us about why debt to income ratio is good for you.
I feel like it's making sure you are spending your money in a very efficient way, that you are not racking up tons and tons of debt and spending your money paying down that money that you've already borrowed and racking up interest and whatever else is going on, and preventing you from doing other really great stuff, building an emergency fund, saving for retirement, saving for your kids' education, whatever that case may be. Because if you're spending money on stuff you've already bought, you're not able to use that money to build for your future.
A debt to income ratio, general rule of thumb is to keep your overall debt to income ratio at or below 43%. So is it saying the percentage of your income that goes to pay on those debts? Is that what that is?
Yeah, it's monthly.
Okay. Mine's power percentage, which was this thing that came up a few years ago where it basically says how much of your take-home pay, actually how much of your income, gross income, is going to increase your net worth. So that might include a mortgage payment because as you pay down principal, it goes up. It might include a debt payment, which makes your income or your net worth go up. It might include 401k contributions, save into an investment account, bunch of different things. And I created it for myself because Mrs. Planner busted my chops at an annual money dinner several years ago. She said, how'd we do this year? And I said, well, we saved X dollars, X numbers of dollars more. She go, well, how about from a percentage standpoint? And I was like, yeah, let me get back to you. And so then it just led to this idea that sometimes we think we're doing better, but we're really not. And that's why I stand by the assertion that when most people get a pay raise, this is a hot take. Be ready. When most people get a pay raise, it actually takes them further away from their retirement goals.
Oh,
isn't that a hot take?
Hot take.
That might be another show. That could be an entire show.
Oof.
But we don't have time for it now. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back and talk about something else. And it'll be interesting. It'll be clever. And it will be captured on the Pete the Planner podcast, which you can download wherever podcasts are downloaded. I'm Pete the Planner. This is the Pete the Planner Show. How many times can I say Pete the Planner in a row? Pete the Planner. Can't. 1, 2.
Not many. Yeah.
Kristen,
Yeah.
have you ever seen the original White Men Can't Jump movie?
Yeah, and I got done watching it. Never mind. Yes.
The original?
Yeah.
Okay, judge in a moment. We're just gathering data.
Okay.
Dave.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. First R movie I ever saw in the theaters with my boys. We went,
Okay.
our moms let us go. And possibly one of the most iconic moments of my life, just seeing it from a culture standpoint of where I was 13-ish. I don't know.
Yeah, sounds about right.
It was amazing. And I loved it so much. And Kristen, your thoughts on this movie? Go ahead. It's okay.
I'm not a movie person. Okay. So we'll get that out there.
Sure.
Name a movie. I guarantee I haven't seen it.
Shawshank Redemption.
Haven't seen it.
Okay.
And I got done watching it and I said, that is 2 hours of my life that I'm never going to get back.
That's
I would
okay.
expect that from her though.
Yeah, it's fair, right? Like I get that. Okay, so it was with great trepidation that this morning at 3:30 when I couldn't sleep, I went downstairs and started watching the remake of White Men Can't Jump on Hulu, starring none other than Jack Harlow as the white man. And if you don't know, Jack Harlow is a hip hop artist from Louisville, Kentucky. I fancy him a talented musician. I love the original. Terrified because I read the reviews of the remake. Damn, I liked it. I liked
Really?
it. Did you watch it?
No.
I liked it. Here's the other thing. I told you this about a year and a half ago on the show. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, one of my favorite shows
Right, yeah.
ever. Watch the remake. I liked it. But I hate remakes, so I don't know what to make of that. Is it just that age of my life? Did they capture me in that 13-year-old window where I'm like, man, I felt cool about myself. Now I'm a dad. And so am I just thinking about nostalgia?
See, I would tend to go the other way, thinking that I've got that piece locked away, and I remember how good I liked it, or how much I liked it, how good it felt. And remakes, I can't go there. I don't want that to tarnish anything that I've got locked away.
Yeah, Chris, I'm not saying it was a good movie. I'm just saying it didn't bother me. But again, 3:30.
That's true.
I was like, couldn't sleep. What's your current sleeping sound you listen to? What?
Stretching for your run.
Yeah, right. Do you listen to sleeping sounds, Kristen?
The King of Queens.
What?
It's a sitcom.
I understand that.
I fall asleep with the King of
TV
Queens
on.
playing usually.
What? If you would have given me 6 billion guesses, wouldn't come up with that. That might be the most shocking thing ever said on this program in nearly 500 episodes is, what do you fall asleep to? King of Queens.
I don't even know what his name is. Paul Blart Mall Cop. What's his actual name?
Kevin
James.
Kevin James. I like him.
Wow.
It's supposed to be a funny show. You're supposed
It
to
is
be
funny.
laughing. So how you try and laugh when you're falling asleep?
Dame, what is your... Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna. It's always the same. The plot is the same in every episode. So even if you fall asleep, you know what happened. Doug messed up. Carrie was mad. Resolution. So it's fine.
You guys, there's an Inception moment. I just pulled up YouTube right now because I was going to tell you what I fall asleep to. And our live show is playing on YouTube. Oh, and I'm showing it. Oh my gosh. Inception. Dame, what do you listen to?
Rick Steves on PBS and little travel action there.
I'm currently on a YouTube channel called Dream Noise FM, and it's various vintage oscillating fans that play for 8 hours. And it has like a hum to it. I'll play it for you right now. Actually, I'm gonna have to have a commercial
love
play.
me a good Panasonic FG132 oscillating fan.
So you're into this too, or are you making fun of
No,
me?
I'm totally making fun of you.
It's amazing. I can't sleep without it now.
You could just buy an oscillating fan.
Shut up, Dame. I'm not looking for good ideas. I kind of want to because I run hot at night.
Yes.
That's why I have the shower with cinnamon soap.
Call back.
If you missed the show, we started with my shower habits. Okay. Do you guys want to do retirement confidence tomfoolery, or do you want to do what do you want to do? You would do debt ceiling, or do you want to do the news? A debt ceiling, I feel like just run, and we're gonna be wrong in like 12 hours. Like, I don't want to do that. What do you want to do?
Debt ceiling, they are going to find a solution, an agreement, whether it's today or whenever, and things will continue on. The debt will continue to grow, and we'll be right back here in another year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is, to be used as leverage for whatever party's in power to get more out of it. There's your debt ceiling talk.
Jeez.
Done.
Okay.
Moving on.
Okay. Someone wants to get to vacation.
Guess we're talking about retirement then.
Okay. I'll pull up that article. And here it is. Let me turn back on my phone, not to listen to sleep sounds, but
do you have headphones that you listen to that to, or
No way.
Does everybody get to enjoy?
Mrs. Planer listen to that too.
the sound only enters my ear holes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's great.
Consider it.
I'm a generous partner. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. Oh man. I can't tell that story. Okay, Dame, I'll tell you later. Sorry, because I can't even tell you. I'm sorry.
No.
It's okay. Wait, are we talking retirement or the lack of financial independence? Both of those articles.
Let's do retirement, please.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Back on the Pete the Planner show. Gallup recently came out with a survey suggesting that pessimism about retirement has grown a lot this year. It's up 5% or down 5%. Well, pessimism up, optimism down? Sure. Yeah. 43% of non-retired adults think they will have enough money to live comfortably when they retire. Just 43% of people feel like they're going to have enough money to retire comfortably. 43% of people. That's the lowest level for that metric since 2012. It's actually fallen 10 points in the last 2 years. So, Dame, this is retirement confidence and retirement ability are two of my favorite topics, especially in relation to each other. Do you feel like this 43%, first of all, is it surprising, 43%?
I will say yes. I will say that 43% is surprising to me.
And in what way?
Well, you didn't ask me that. I think it's surprising me because I think it's accurate. I think it's pretty close to what the number should be. That 43% should be confident that they could retire comfortably the word that was used, Pete?
Confidently. Comfortably.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's close-ish.
Kristen?
I don't know. Sorry. I don't know. I'm kind of surprised. I would have expected the number to be higher than that.
Mm-hmm.
So here I have a take that is not fun. And this is Kristen, Dame, this is our wheelhouse. Like we live and breathe this.
Yeah.
So I have to share some expertise here. It's just uncomfortable. And it's that most people have no idea how they're doing financially. They just don't. They guess wrong. It's because they use the wrong metrics, as we've talked earlier in the show. I would say that the actual level of people who are actually able to retire comfortably is significantly less than 43% in the year 2023. And here's why. Kristen, have you ever run a marathon?
Only a half.
Okay, you've run a half. Dame, have you ever run a half marathon?
No.
Okay, I've run a half marathon. So, Kristen, this is just between you and I, boo.
Right on.
I don't know why I said boo. I saw it in a movie.
I liked it.
White men can't jump. 2. Kristen, you and I run a half marathon. Let's say that you're in mile 3.
Okay.
And your hip starts locking up.
Yeah.
It starts raining. You're running uphill, and the water station has no water. You are in distress.
Mm-hmm.
Things are bad.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about your ability to finish the race?
Not good.
Okay.
At mile 3, I should be feeling great.
Yeah. So, Dame, people just got hit in the face with inflation, the economy at large, fears over the debt ceiling, and a stock market that is not recovered. So, isn't it natural that this came down? I'm not saying you're suggesting otherwise, but the fact that it's gone down 10 points in 2 years makes a lot of sense because people are running uphill in the rain with a side stitch, no?
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense that the number has come down. I would argue that those who still feel confident probably are a little bit more in tune with their overall finances than the people that got shook out that came down off of that in that 10% number. So I think the number that is reflected now is likely more accurate than it otherwise would be because of what we've come through the last 3 to 5 years.
Kristen, what percentage of people do you believe think they are good dancers?
Oh, about a third.
Okay, third of people. Dane, what do you think?
Is this people sober or people drunk?
Whatever.
Sober, I think it's probably 20%, and drunk, I think it's like 80.
I would argue that it's 43%. I would argue that 43% of people think they're a good dancer. Okay. And my point is it's perception and reality.
Bingo.
And so, first of all, the word comfortable is loaded, and Dame pointed that out too, right? That's a tough one because what is comfortable to one isn't comfortable to the other. And sometimes when people think about retirement, they go less than comfortable and accept that as comfortable. Mm-hmm. I have found when it comes to projecting decades into the future and evaluating stability, that's just really hard to do. And your confidence should actually be lower than it is in most cases.
Yeah, I hadn't gotten an opportunity to interject that thought, but I do think it's perception and reality, and the decrease since I don't remember what the other
21.
date was.
21.
Yeah, that 10% decrease shows us that the people that then didn't report the same level of confidence were not basing that on reality, because if you're still doing the right things, shouldn't you have the same level of confidence that you can have a comfortable retirement?
Dame, okay. Well, here's a different angle to what she just said. And by she, I mean Kristen Elanius, Director of Education at Your Money. Dame, what are the chances that some of the 10% of people fell out are people who are fine? They're just anxious, but they're fine.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very likely Well, some of them for sure fell out because of anxiety issues around that. But there's, gosh, this is such a loaded question on a number of fronts, and I just don't know how we appropriately account for all this. I mean, we don't even know what the sample was that was taken, because if I go and ask this question to folks in their 30s, they're probably going to give a completely different answer because of their perspective than somebody who gets asked in their mid 50s on this. It's just,
I'm looking right now.
A weird question.
Okay. Oh.
We have data?
Data time. All right. Men, who's more confident in their ability to retire? Men or women?
Men.
Men at 50%, women 36%. Proving once again, women are smarter than men. Ages 18 to 29. Higher than 43% or lower than 43%? Kristen?
I'm going to lower.
Higher, 54%.
Wow.
That's
30 to 49. Higher or lower than 43%?
I will say higher.
lower.
Lower, 38%. And 50 to 64, higher or lower?
Oh, higher, but barely.
43% exactly.
39. Okay, so this is where it gets interesting too. Oh, how much time do we have? Enough. Lower income folks are at 19%.
Really?
Middle income folks, and I think this is the category to care about. I mean, and not because I don't care about the others, because I do, but I think it is actually the most indicative of what's going on, is 36%. And upper income, where I think a lot of overconfidence persists, is 65%.
Hey.
Okay, one last factor. College graduates,
Oh.
57%. Not college graduate, 35%. Fascinating. Fun with studies. Boop ba da boop bop bop bop. That's the stinger. I didn't have time to put together a stinger.
I think we just stole a jingle.
Oh, we may have. Okay, here's what we're going to do. After the break, we're going to come back on this show after the commercials.
Oh, no.
And we're doing biggest waste of money of the week. Damien, we were all off last week and from the show. So you've had 2 weeks to compile amazing news. You're off next week. So we're going to make Kristen do the news next week.
Man.
So this better be an amazing news segment. And I have to say, I may have tripped upon one of my favorite biggest waste of money of the weeks in a while. I feel like they've had high quality bombs this year, high quality. And this one is up there. So Kristen, prepare to embarrass yourself with a bad guess.
Yay.
Dame, prepare to find something that you looked up earlier this week. I'm Pete the Planner, and this is the Pete the Planner Show. Sometimes the fan noise, they'll do like a blended fan noise where it's like several fans and then like a radiator, like a radiant heat. And it's like, and it's like a chorus, and it's amazing.
Okay.
You know where it goes wrong sometimes, though, is every once in a while an ad will pop up in the middle of the video. And so I'm like having a dream about Dame like shaving my arm or, something normal or something. And then it's at Rent-A-Kill, and it's like, what? In my ear.
Have you seen this trend about people taping their mouths shut when
Have we talked about this on the show?
I don't
No.
Well, you might have. Maybe it was a show I wasn't here, but no, I don't think we have.
I've looked into that.
It's interesting.
Very.
I think so too. And then I read a scientific study that said it's hogwash, balderdash. But it's a study. I mean, a study can say anything. People think 43% of people think they're going to retire on time.
Who paid for the study, Pete? Who paid for the study? So
The anti-tape
machine, CPAP machine company,
Flonase.
Glue company. No, because they anti-tape. Interesting. Kristen, would you tape your mouth shut upon going to bed at night?
If I thought that I would get higher quality sleep, I would.
Dame?
I'm interested, but I've got all this stuff around my mouth, and I just don't know how that's going to work.
So there was and then of course, once you click on it, then all the ads are served to you, and like that podcaster's like, I used to use 3M tape, and it's like, okay, and then now he uses this like black rubber tape. What they call it, hostage tape, right?
Hostage tape, yeah. I think it's just kinesiology tape, but I could be wrong.
Hey guys, are you ready for Blom? What time is it?
I am so ready for Blom.
Darn.
I'm not ready for Blom.
I got to get going here. Stop it.
Jeremiah's at the track. He's not paying attention to us today.
Good point. 3, 2. Oh, hold on. Let me do this. Let me just pull it up. There it is. Okay. 3, 2, 1. This week's biggest waste of money of the week, right here on the Pete the Planner Show, is the world's most expensive ice cream. Mm-hmm. It has an unusual ingredient list, including Parmigiano Reggiano cheese, sake kasu, a paste-like substance created during sake production, edible gold leaf, and white truffles sourced exclusively from Alba, Italy. The name comes from those signature white truffles, which can sell for quite the pretty penny. Development took over a year and involved chef Tadayoshi Yamada of Rivi, a French-Japanese restaurant in Osaka, Japan.
Nice job.
Can I have a timeout here?
Yeah.
Would you time out for our good job for the pronunciation?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I practiced. Here's the side note. Get on Instagram this week. 2 of my cousins, who are related to each other, obviously, but not brothers, are randomly in Osaka, Japan this week. I was just like, what do you guys do? They're like young and fun, you know?
Nah.
Those people.
Yeah. And they're handsome.
Are you sure they're related?
Here's the thing. Kristen, have I ever talked to you about my family? My
Not really.
extended family is so attractive. Dame, have I talked to you? I've talked to you about this, haven't I, Dame?
I think it's come up.
So attractive. So attractive. And I'm not. So family gatherings are, it's like, oh, there's Pete after the industrial accident. That's our cousin Pete. Anyway, let's continue. The decadent treat arrives with a metal spoon handmade by Takeuchi craftsmen using techniques and materials taken from temple and shrine construction. This is one standard scoop, which is 4 ounces.
Oh, no.
4 ounces, 1 scoop of gelato, as they call it, not gelato. They call it gelato. Chelata Byakuya ice cream. So the pronunciation went to crap there.
Yeah.
Kristen, how much for a scoop of the world's most expensive ice cream?
Oh my! I'm
standard scoop's going to be what, $4 for ice cream? Can expensive, so it's like $4 maybe a scoop. Dame,
maybe
$3.
I guess maybe in your neck of the woods.
Well, it is in my neck of the woods. Kristen, how much do you think for this scoop?
$600.
Oof.
Oh,
Dame,
I have no idea. I have $495.
What if I told you that it is $6,380 for a scoop of ice cream?
That's insane. I mean, it took a professional chef a year, so I knew it was going to be crazy, but then I thought you were trying to throw me off. It was a whole thing.
Wow.
I zoned out the year part because that just looks ridiculous, and I'm sure it doesn't taste good to me at all.
Parmesan.
Dan, what's in the news this week?
What if you bought that ice cream after you had COVID and it just doesn't taste like the way the chef envisioned? I mean, there's so much at play here that, you know, it may taste great to them, but to you, it tastes like Pete's armpit. I don't know.
What? It smells like lavender. I used a lavender deodorant.
Cinnamon. Use cinnamon today.
That's right. Yeah.
In 2019, HGTV sparked a new era of Brady mania with its special A Very Brady Reunion. HGTV stars, including the series hosts, worked alongside the Brady Bunch cast members who played the 6 Brady kids to meticulously recreate a replica of the original set design inside the legendary home in North Hollywood. HGTV invested $1.9 million and added 2,000 square feet to the property's original footprint, including a full second story. Standout features in the completed home include the iconic floating staircase, burnt orange and avocado green kitchen, the kids' Jack and Jill bathroom, and a backyard swing set, teeter-totter, and Tiger's doghouse. Though the for sale house doesn't come with all the decor from the special, the interiors for the most part remain untouched since the renovation. Pete, if you haven't seen this thing, it is truly amazing. If you want to walk back in time and get a little hit of nostalgia, check it out. The listing price for the house is
$4 million.
Kristen already knows because she's the one that pointed this out to me. $5.5 million to own the Brady house.
Great show.
Yeah.
Top 10 for me.
Ooh, think so?
I watched a lot of Brady Bunch. I used to dominate at Brady Bunch trivia on the Brady Bunch trivia circuit.
On the circuit.
It was a small circuit.
Does it come with a satin jacket and a big old
when
logo
it's
on the
time
back?
to change, you've got to rearrange. That's a song from the Brady Bunch.
That was the one that was it Peter
Yeah,
that had the
that was great. Peter had the changing voice.
change, yeah.
Time to change.
Yeah.
Yes. What else is in the news?
Check fraud might seem old-fashioned in the digital area, but it's era, but it's on the rise as criminal gangs become increasingly sophisticated. Theft of checks mailed through the U.S. Postal Service has jumped significantly over the past 18 months. In 2022, banks filed 680,000 check fraud reports, according to the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network of the Treasury Department. That's almost double the 350,000 fraud reports filed in 2021. In 2018, however, check fraud made up 47% or $1.3 billion of bank fraud losses, a jump from $789 million in 2016. Paper checks are on the decline, but are still widely used. Americans sent 11.2 billion checks in 2021, down 7.2% from 2018. Kristen, when was the last time you sent a check?
Oh, here we go.
I have only sent like 2 checks in the last like maybe 5 years, and they were for my HOA because I had no other option.
Okay, I get the reason you brought this up. I hand deliver my mortgage payment via check to my bank every month. And I'm okay with that. I have no problem with that. I take time out of my busy day as the chief executive officer of a tech company to go pay my mortgage in person. And I will die on that hill for just probably another, how many payments? Probably 65 more payments.
Do you get a sucker when you go in?
I see where you're going with that. I'm the sucker. Ha 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 ha.
Thousands of small-time real estate investors face a wallet-whopping housing bust. Seeking to earn a return without the work of being a landlord, these people invested their money with real estate syndicators who purchase apartment rental buildings using the pooled funds. Once powered by low interest rates and, in some parts of the country, rising rents and escalating property values, many have come under financial pressures and hold properties they can no longer afford. The investors have few legal protections. For example, syndicators in many cases aren't required to regularly update them on buildings' financial performances, and investors have no say over spending. Some who lost their investment never knew the properties were in trouble until they were near foreclosure. Kristen, this goes to our general line of thinking that real estate is tough and it is way more complicated than most people realize, and trying to find a way to cut corners by being a part of a syndicate don't always work.
Full disclosure, I'm not even really sure I know what a syndicate is.
You've never watched Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol?
No.
The Syndicate is a group of criminals worldwide. Is that, or it's different syndicate, Dane?
It's a similar concept. It sounds like similar concept.
No. Well, here's the thing. Anytime you hear a commercial, and yes, I realize that commercials will play in 1 minute, that when something is oversimplified, like real estate or gold or cryptocurrency or protected investments, it's not that it's simple. There's a lot of fine print, and it's very difficult. If it's a complicated thing and is made to seem easy so that it is approachable to you, it is in fact not for you. And I think a lot of times with those real estate syndicates, that's what ends up happening.
I agree.
Circle gets the square. Kristen, have you ever seen Hollywood Squares?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
I don't know if you say Happy Memorial Day. I know. I respectfully, I don't know what you say. But I hope you're able to celebrate and remember those we've lost. So anyway, kids, have a good weekend. Sending you good vibes because good vibes are all that's in the budget. I'm Pete the Planner. This is Pete the Planner Show. I don't know what you say. You know what I mean?
It's a great point. I'm not sure either.
Okay. I'm done. Good luck. I got stuff to do. All right, Dame, have a great vacay.
Thank you.
Kristen,
see you next week.
see you next week. All right, everybody else, stay getting money.